Boris Johnson arriving to present a manifesto he says will unite the country. It sounds like he's got some work to do. But he's got plenty of backers too. His Get Brexit Done pledge sealing the deal for many voters.
Are we going to sign this one?
Put in his name to another Brexit promise. Will he keep it this time around?
And here it is.
A slim manifesto, short on policy, big on Brexit rhetoric.
We're going to get Brexit done with a deal that is pre-cooked, ready to go. Get Brexit done. And we can restore confidence and certainty to business and to families. Get Brexit done and we'll see a pent-up tidal wave of investment into this country. Get Brexit done and we can focus our hearts and our minds on the priorities of the British people.
Targeted but limited spending on those priorities: the police, nurses, hospitals, schools.
In this manifesto, we pledge 50,000 more nurses and their bursaries and 50 million more GP surgery appointments. And today, we make this guarantee to the British people that we will tackle crime with 20,000 more police officers and tougher sentencing, and that we will sort out our immigration system with a points-based Australian-style system.
But keeping the cost down.
We can do all these things without raising our income tax, VAT or national insurance contributions.
A frugal option, unlike the opposition.
Corbynomics, McDonaldonomics, means higher taxes for everybody in this country, £2,400 extra.
Urging voters to stick with what they know and reject the alternative.
You want to wake up on Friday the 13th of December and find a nightmare on Downing Street, a Corbyn-Sturgeon coalition of chaos. I say, let's go carbon neutral by 2050 and Corbyn neutral by Christmas. Let's go.
But are these promises worth more than the ones that came before? You promised an income tax cut for higher earners, now dropped from the manifesto. You also promised do or die to leave the EU on October the 31st, when you didn't have the majority in Parliament to deliver on that promise. Voters laughed at you when you said that truth in politics is important. Do you understand why many people simply don't trust you?
Yes, it's true that we are not prioritising tax cuts for the high earners at the moment. We are looking, of course, at the moment to do what we can to help people with the cost of living.
The Brexit delay, not his fault.
Actually, what happened, if you remember, was that Parliament decided to give a first approval to that withdrawal agreement, which everybody said was impossible, and they then senselessly voted to extend yet again.
Dodging the trust question, is it his Achilles heel? Why do you think it is that people laugh at Boris Johnson when he talks about truth and truth being important? They think it's a joke. They don't think he's trustworthy.
Well, if you want to see people delivering on their commitments, look at what he said on the steps of Downing Street and what he's delivered already. He said,
well, he hasn't delivered Brexit, has he?
He said he'd get a new deal.
That was his main pitch.
He said he'd get a new deal on Brexit, and he has.
A&E waiting times at a record high. 1 in 3 children living in poverty. That's a Conservative record for the past decade. Why on earth should people vote for you again?
As you've heard from the Prime Minister, that when we get Brexit done, it gives us more scope to focus on these things, the people's priorities.
Boris Johnson has one big message in this election, that's to get Brexit done, and he doesn't really want to detract from that. So this is a rather slimline manifesto full of lots of pictures. The Conservative offer on public services is pretty modest when compared with Labour's, but Boris Johnson's gambling that this is a Brexit election and voters will see it that way too. Jeremy Corbyn campaigning in Thurrock, trying to get it back onto his ground.
In Telford in the Midlands, the area where I grew up, the Conservative Party is launching its manifesto. A manifesto paid for by billionaires, written for billionaires, and will be delivered for billionaires, but the problem is the rest of us will have to pay for it. And so, when you've got a Conservative Party that has been in coalition government or government on its own for 10 years, made the political choice in 2010 of austerity on the people of this country, it's not them who pay for it.
Labour wanted this to be the austerity election, but this man's Brexit message still front and centre stage. He doesn't need to win over new voters with this manifesto. All he needs to do is hold on to his Vote Leave support. Convincingly ahead in the polls. If it stays this way, he's heading for a majority. Beth Rigby, Sky News, Telford.